What if I told you that one single organ in your body controls hundreds of vital functions, yet most people don't even realize when it's in trouble? Imagine an engine running non-stop, 24/7, filtering toxins, making hormones, fueling your brain, and keeping your blood in perfect balance. Now imagine what happens when that engine starts to fail. And here's the twist. The early warning signs are often silent, almost invisible until the damage is already severe. That's why you need to pay attention to what I'm about to share. Hello, my name is Dr. Nana, and I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video, because today we're diving into the most common signs and symptoms of liver stress. The goal isn't just to list problems, it's to connect the dots, so you can finally understand the mechanisms behind them and start taking control of your health. The liver isn't just important, that's an understatement. It's at the center of nearly every metabolic process in the body. In fact, the liver is directly responsible for around 500 to 600 different chemical reactions. That's an astonishing number, isn't it? These reactions include manufacturing hormones, activating and modifying them, and then breaking them down when they're no longer needed. The liver also creates glycogen from excess glucose, stores it for later, and when that storage runs out makes fresh glucose from scratch, a process called gluconeogenesis. And when carbs are really low, your liver steps in again, producing ketones that fuel your brain. But that's not all. The liver makes tens of thousands of proteins, including the critical blood proteins albumin and globulin. Albumin helps maintain proper blood pressure through osmotic balance, while globulins act as carrier proteins, one type you may know well, immunoglobulins or antibodies, which are essential for your immune defense. Your liver also produces cholesterol, carefully modifying, recycling, and balancing it to maintain the right ratios of LDL and HDL depending on what your body needs. And of course, the liver is the body's primary detoxification plant. It's the only organ capable of taking harmful, fat-soluble poisons like pesticides and chemicals and transforming them into water-soluble byproducts that can safely leave your body through the bowels. In other words, the liver is directly or indirectly involved in nearly every chemical reaction inside you. Even the word liver starts with the letters LIV, a reminder that life itself depends on this organ. When people talk about liver disease, you may hear terms like fatty liver, toxic liver, or cirrhosis. They may sound different, but they're all variations of the same destructive process. The most common form today is fatty liver, which quickly becomes toxic because of insulin resistance. When that happens, fat, toxins, and metabolic byproducts pile up in the liver, causing congestion and inflammation. At first, there's irritation, hepatitis. As the process worsens, fat builds up, insulin resistance grows, and type 2 diabetes often follows. Push it further, and real damage begins, scarring and fibrosis, which means the liver tissue itself is breaking down. If this damage becomes widespread, cirrhosis sets in, severe scarring that can progress all the way to end-stage liver disease, liver failure, and even cancer. The very first sign of liver stress is something called bronze diabetes. It isn't truly diabetes, but it's closely linked. The real condition is called hemochromatosis, which means too much iron is being absorbed and stored in the body. Picture iron overload as rust inside you. Just like rust damages metal, this overload damages organs. At first, you might notice a bronze color in your skin when excess iron settles into the sweat glands. But the bigger problem is that this rust silently attacks your liver, pancreas, and heart. That's why it contributes to liver disease, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular problems. It's surprisingly common, yet often overlooked, and the good news is, it's also simple to manage once detected. And that's just the beginning. On the next page, we'll uncover more signs that your liver is under stress, so you'll know exactly what to watch out for before it's too late. We just talked about the very first warning sign of liver stress, iron overload, and the condition known as bronze diabetes. Now, let's go deeper into the next critical signs you must not ignore. The problem with iron overload is that it often slips under the radar. Why? Because most doctors will simply check your serum iron in a blood test. But here's the issue. Serum iron represents less than 1% of the total iron stored in your body. Think of it this way, it's like judging your financial health by how much cash you happen to have in your wallet right now. That doesn't really tell you the full story, does it? If we want a true picture of your iron status, we need to look at ferritin. That's the storage form of iron in the body, and it gives us a much clearer idea of whether iron is building up where it shouldn't. So, the smart move is to ask your doctor specifically for a ferritin test. The best part? It's incredibly affordable, just a few extra dollars added to your blood work, and it provides invaluable information. Ferritin levels tell you the equivalent of your financial savings, your house equity, your investments. In other words, it's the big picture, not just what's in your wallet today. There's also a genetic test for hemochromatosis, which is considered the definitive way to diagnose the condition. If your doctor wants to put an official label on it, that's the route they'll take. But here's the truth. You don't always need the genetic test, because the treatment is the same regardless. The answer is simple: remove the excess iron by removing blood. In severe cases, doctors may use bloodletting and discard it. But if your blood is otherwise healthy, you can simply donate blood at a place like the Red Cross. Not only will this protect your organs, but you'll also be helping someone else. It's one of the easiest, most effective treatments out there. Sign number 2. Xanthelasma's second sign to watch for is something called xanthelasma. It sounds like a complicated medical term, but it really just means yellow plaques. These often appear in the inner corners of the eyes. What are they? They're cholesterol deposits. Normally, your liver produces a substance called bile. Think of bile like dish soap. It's a detergent, an emulsifier that breaks down grease and fat in your food. When you eat a fatty meal, your gallbladder releases stored bile to help digest it. But when your liver is under stress, bile production slows down. And when there isn't enough bile, fat metabolism takes a hit. That includes cholesterol metabolism. Without enough bile, cholesterol isn't properly broken down and processed. Instead, it can accumulate in places where it doesn't belong, like those yellowish plaques near the eyes. Sign number 3. Jaundice. Next comes jaundice, which is another word for yellowing. This can show up in your skin or in the whites of your eyes. But where does that yellow color come from? When red blood cells are broken down and recycled, the liver processes the byproducts. One of these is called bilirubin. Normally, bilirubin gets excreted in bile, and that's what gives stool its natural brown color. But when the liver can't finish this job, when it fails to properly attach bilirubin to bile, the bilirubin builds up in your body instead. That's when the yellow tone appears on your skin or in your eyes. It's a visible signal that your liver isn't clearing waste the way it should. Sign number 4. Changes in bowel habits. One of the most overlooked indicators of liver problems is a change in bowel movements. Chronic diarrhea is one of the strongest associations with liver disease, even though doctors still don't fully understand why. It's a red flag that should never be ignored. Another related condition is called steatorrhea, or fatty stools. This happens for a very straightforward reason. If your liver isn't producing enough bile, fats remain undigested. Those fats stay in the stool, giving it a pale color from both the excess fat and the missing bilirubin. Here's how you can spot it. Fatty stools are lighter, paler, and they tend to float in the toilet because fat is less dense than water. It's unpleasant, but it's one of the clearest outward signs that bile production has been disrupted. And when bile is low, fat digestion collapses, leading to all kinds of digestive and metabolic issues. Sign number 5. Itching and burning. Another sign is itching or burning sensations, especially in the hands and feet. This condition occurs because of bile retention. Remember, bile isn't just for digesting fat, it also carries toxins out of the body. If bile doesn't flow properly, those toxins don't leave. Instead, they get trapped in your tissues. Why the hands and feet? Circulation is the key. These areas are the farthest from your heart, making it harder to deliver nutrients and harder to clear out waste. When toxins build up there, you feel it most strongly in those extremities. And here's the kicker: if you already have type 2 diabetes, this problem can get even worse. Poor circulation combined with bile buildup makes itching and burning in the hands and feet one of the most telling signs of liver congestion. As you can see, the liver doesn't just fail silently, it leaves a trail of visible signs and symptoms if you know what to look for. From cholesterol deposits in your eyes to yellowing skin, from digestive changes to painful itching, your body is constantly sending signals. The challenge is recognizing them before the damage becomes severe. On the next page, we'll uncover even more signs, some that may surprise you, so you can protect your liver and your overall health before it's too late. Stay with me. I'm Dr. Nana, and we're just getting started. In the last section, we explored some powerful external signs like itching, fatty stools, and jaundice that reveal when the liver is struggling. Now, let's move deeper into the next set of clues your body gives when this critical organ is under stress. Sign number 6. Poor vision, known of the first places liver stress can show up, is in your eyesight. Why? Because healthy vision depends on vitamin A fat-soluble vitamin. Here's the key. When your liver and bile aren't working properly, your body can't digest or absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Without enough vitamin A, your eyesight suffers. This can mean general vision problems, but one of the most noticeable issues is night blindness, difficulty seeing in low light or when driving at night. If you've noticed your night vision declining, that's not just aging. It could very well be your liver signaling that fat digestion and vitamin absorption are compromised. Sign number 7. Allergies. This one surprises a lot of people. Did you know that chronic allergies, whether to food or environmental triggers, can be linked to a stressed liver? Maybe it seems like you're reacting to almost everything you eat. Or maybe you can't be around pollen, ragweed, or even your pets without sneezing, itching, or wheezing. That's not just bad luck, it's often a sign of liver congestion or toxicity. Here's why. When the liver loses power and efficiency, toxins and metabolic byproducts start to build up in the body. The more junk floating around, the more likely your immune system is to overreact. This hypersensitivity leads to allergic reactions, your immune system treating harmless substances like threats. So if your allergies seem to be multiplying, don't just blame your environment. Ask if your liver might be the root cause. Sign number 8. Ascites and fluid accumulation. Next is a condition called ascites, a special form of fluid retention. It's essentially a leakage problem. Normally, proteins like albumin act like tiny sponges inside your bloodstream, holding water in place by creating osmotic pressure. This balance keeps fluid from leaking out of blood vessels into surrounding tissues. But when the liver is weak, it can't make enough albumin. And without that sponge effect, water begins to escape into tissues, creating swelling and puffiness. One visible example is pitting edema. When you press your finger into the skin of your leg or ankle and the indentation stays for minutes, like pressing into a memory foam mattress. Ascites is the same process, but instead of the legs, the fluid builds up in the abdominal cavity. This can make the stomach look swollen or distended, almost like a big belly from fat, but in reality, it's fluid. For many patients with advanced liver problems, ascites is one of the most obvious and distressing symptoms. Sign number 9. Shoulder pain. Strange as it sounds, your liver can actually cause pain in your shoulder. How? Through something called referred pain. When internal organs are in distress, the body often projects the pain to a different area. For example, people with heart trouble often report crushing pain in the left shoulder or arm, even though the heart itself doesn't hurt. The same is true for the liver and gallbladder. When they're inflamed or congested, you might feel discomfort in the right shoulder blade, the right shoulder, or even the right side of the neck. Ever wake up after a night of drinking with a painfully stiff neck or ache in your right shoulder? That may not have been just poor posture, it could have been your liver crying for help. Sign number 10. Fatigue. And finally, the most common complaint of all, fatigue. What makes fatigue so tricky is that it's nonspecific. Doctors often shrug it off because it could be anything. But here's the truth. When your liver isn't functioning well, energy levels plummet. That's because the liver is central to nearly every metabolic process, fueling your cells, balancing blood sugar, breaking down toxins, producing vital proteins. When the liver slows down, your entire body slows down. You may feel exhausted no matter how much you sleep, struggle to concentrate, or lose stamina for everyday activities. Fatigue isn't just being tired. It's your body telling you that something fundamental, something deep in your metabolism isn't right. And more often than not, the liver is involved. So far, we've uncovered a wide range of warning signs: poor vision, allergies, fluid buildup, shoulder pain, and fatigue that may not seem connected at first glance. But when you trace them back, they all link to one root cause: a liver that's overworked and underperforming. In the next section, we'll dive into why these signs are often ignored by mainstream medicine and how understanding the deeper mechanisms can help you take back control of your health. Stay with me, I'm Dr. Nana, because what comes next might completely change how you look at your body's signals. In the last section, we uncovered how liver stress can leave you feeling deeply fatigued, so exhausted that no amount of sleep seems to restore your energy. Now, let's bring everything together, understand why this happens, and most importantly, talk about what you can actually do to protect and restore your liver health. Why fatigue happens with liver stress. Doctors have observed this phenomenon for decades, yet they still don't fully understand all of the mechanisms behind it. What they do know is this: when the liver is stressed, It changes the way signals are transmitted throughout the nervous system. The brain and the body are constantly in conversation back and forth, moment by moment. But when your liver is overloaded, those signals don't flow the same way. Something gets disrupted. If we pause and use a little bit of logic, it makes sense. The liver is at the center of energy regulation. It maintains blood sugar, creates ketones when carbohydrates are scarce, and fuels your body at the cellular level. So if your liver is struggling, it's not surprising that the body can't produce steady energy. It's like trying to run a household when the power grid is unstable. You're going to experience blackouts, slowdowns, and breakdowns. Another way to think about it, when you're sick, your body naturally shifts gears. Instead of spending energy on outward performance, your system reallocates resources inward to focus on healing. This healing state often comes with profound fatigue. And if your liver is toxic, fatty, or diseased, your body is constantly in that healing mode, diverting resources to repair instead of energize. The truth about liver cleanses. So what do you do about it? Many people turn to liver detox kits or liver flushes sold online or in health stores. These packages often contain herbs or supplements designed to stimulate bowel movements. And yes, moving your bowels is important. Why? Because the liver's natural way of dumping toxins is through the bile into the intestines. If the bowels are sluggish, toxins can sit there too long and actually get reabsorbed. So, stimulating bowel movement is helpful. But here's the truth, that's only step one, and it's temporary. It doesn't address the root causes of liver stress or repair the damage. If we want true healing, we need a more comprehensive, long-term approach. Real food is real medicine. The most powerful way to heal your liver is also the simplest: eat real food. That means going back to basics: whole, natural foods from both plants and animals. Plants play a cleansing role. Non-starchy vegetables, leafy greens, and cruciferous veggies like broccoli and kale are loaded with compounds that support detoxification and help sweep waste from your system. Animal foods play a rebuilding role. Their amino acid profiles are complete and highly bioavailable, meaning your body can use them directly to repair tissues. Think of plant foods as the soap and water that clean your house, while animal foods are the bricks and wood that rebuild it. You need both. But here's the key: not bread, donuts, or processed snacks. We're talking about real, nutrient-rich foods: whole vegetables, quality proteins, and natural fats. Fighting oxidative stress with glutathione. Much of the damage inside the liver comes from oxidative stress. People often hear oxidative stress and immediately think they need to buy bottles of antioxidant supplements. But that's not the real solution. The antioxidant that truly matters is one your body makes itself: glutathione. And here's the good news: your liver can make it in abundance if you give it the right raw materials. Glutathione is built from two sulfur-containing amino acids, cysteine and methionine. These are found in foods rich in sulfur such as garlic, onions, eggs, fish, and cruciferous vegetables. By eating both plant and animal sources of sulfur, you provide your body with the tools to manufacture glutathione. And glutathione is the frontline soldier in defending your liver against ongoing damage. The three biggest offenders to eliminate: of course, no matter how many healing foods you eat, if you keep putting in the garbage that caused the problem, the damage will continue. There are three major offenders you must cut down, or ideally, cut out. 1. Sugar. Especially fructose. Regular table sugar is about 50% fructose, and high fructose corn syrup is often even higher. Fructose is essentially a direct toxin to the liver. 2. Alcohol. Alcohol is an even more potent liver poison. Your liver works overtime to process every drink you consume, and over time the damage is cumulative. 3. Medications. Many people don't realize that pharmaceuticals are also hard on the liver. Every pill you swallow passes through the portal vein straight into your liver. That's why doses often have to be increased over time. The liver is working desperately to filter them out. On top of these, you also want to limit processed foods. They're loaded with sugars, preservatives, artificial colors, and additives, all of which pile onto your liver's workload while providing almost none of the nutrients you need for repair. Your liver is your life. When you step back and look at the big picture, it becomes crystal clear. Your liver is at the center of almost every critical process in your body. It fuels your brain, balances your blood sugar, detoxifies harmful chemicals, and produces the proteins that keep your blood and tissues healthy. When the liver falters, everything falters: your energy, your immunity, your digestion, even your mind. That's why taking care of this organ is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your long-term health. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Support your liver by cutting back on sugar, alcohol, and processed foods. Fuel it with real, nutrient-dense meals, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, clean proteins, and sulfur-rich foods that boost your body's own glutathione. And most importantly, listen to your body's warning signs before they become irreversible damage. I'm Dr. Nana, and I want you to remember this. Your liver isn't just an organ, it's your body's lifeline. Treat it well, and it will reward you with energy, clarity, and years of stronger, healthier living. If you found this video helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Senior Health Boost so you never miss out on life-changing health insights. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.